Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guest, but we want to give our sponsors a shout out. Now, don't hit that fast forward button. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes. These are all companies that I used as an athletic director. You should be using them too. So listen to our shout outs, then listen to the episode. And when it's over, go and visit these sponsors. You're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing for their support of the podcast. Hometown is the leading digital ticketing provider for schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. Go to hometownticketing.com to get started. It's digital ticketing that offers more. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Gipper is the official social media graphics solution for the podcast. If you go to Gipper.com, their team is going to help you create world-class content for your school's social media channel in seconds. Celebrate your teams and promote your athletes. Gipper's used and trusted by over 4,000 high school and college programs across the country. It's professional graphic design made easy. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Home Campus. Okay. Home Campus is a platform that you're going to use every single day. Things like uploading schedules, student athlete eligibility and clearance. Who doesn't do that every day? Communicating with your parents, your coaches, your kids, uploading digital forms. Home Campus is going to do your job faster, easier, and it's going to make you a much happier AD. And all you have to do to get started is go to homecampus.com. That's homecampus.com. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the sports, or your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their interactive touchscreen. That's right, touchscreen video consoles. It's also a great way to share your school's unique history, your proudest moments, and highlight your best student athletes. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. Mention the podcast, you'll get a nice discount. vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and got little, if any, return? Stop right here. Go to snapraise.com. Hands down, the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school. Tremendous success. Our coaches, our parents loved it. It works. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you found it. Go to snapraise.com for more information. We also want to thank our friends at Huddle. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. But as an athletic director, our coaches just loved what Huddle did for them, their assistant coaches, and their student athletes. And our fans loved Huddle too. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, turn your school into a Huddle school. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo to see their scoreboards and their score tables in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule that live web demo today. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your student athletes, your parents, or your coaches, you're really missing out. Athletic Surveys is going to connect you to all of your stakeholders. You probably already hear back from the complainers, but that's only a small percentage. Athletic Surveys will connect you to the 98% of your parents and student athletes that love your program. And that's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're talking with a frustrated parent, maybe your principal or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com to get started. You're going to be glad you did. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going up to New York today, and we're going to be visiting with Christina Collins. Has a tremendous background. She was an athlete, entrepreneur. We're going to talk about that. She's the founder and owner, of her own business, and quite a leader in the area of physical education, fitness, and a lot of different topics that are going to resonate with our athletic director audience. So the name of her company is Never Stop Moving 365. I love that visual that creates. Christina Collins, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, you and I were connected by, let's say, a mutual acquaintance, and she thought you'd be a great guest. I heartily agree. Let's go and jump right in. We always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests a little bit. So give us that quick bio. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up? Maybe take us up through your own high school and college days, and then we'll take a break. But what's the Christina Collins origin story?
Sure, Jake. So I've been an athlete my whole life since a very young age, and I was positively impacted by my physical education teacher in high school in Westchester County, New York, where I was born and raised and currently reside with my husband and two sons. So, being fortunate enough that I knew that's what I wanted to study so young, I pursued volleyball in college to earn my health and physical education degree, was hired before I graduated college, pursued my master's from the Master's of Sports Science, all in this field. And I'm so passionate about having that same positive impact on children through physical literacy that my phys ed teacher, who was also the assistant athletic director, who was also my volleyball coach, had on me.
Yeah. We hear that frequently, with our guests, who, whether they're a head coach or an athletic director, they're in some type of leadership position. And it goes back to oftentimes, I'm not going to say always, but almost always, to that teacher or coach that they had. You mentioned you had some great PE teachers and coaches growing up. I always ask this question. Can you think of a moment, maybe it was in middle school or high school or even college, where at the time, it didn't seem like much, but now looking back, with perspective and experience, you can say, "Hey, that was a significant moment for me." Anything come to mind?
Yeah, absolutely. My volleyball coach was also the track and field coach. And when he told me that I should join track and field, I laughed, thinking I'm running. I'm not running anywhere. And him believing in me to do that and to step away from another team sport, a softball, to do track and field. And then when he introduced, which I realize now was just him cross training me for volleyball, so I would have more success for him, which is so smart. He did not believe I was going to be a runner, and I did prove him wrong and became an ultra endurance athlete after college. But all of this to say, he then went on to prompt me and my family to pursue a travel league. And that was the only reason I was seen by colleges to then play at that level. So at the time, both of those things were scary. Giving up sports I loved and team sports I knew and had a comfortable role in. And then taking on these new ventures, travel leagues, playing in places I'd never been with kids I had never met outside of my town, and pursuing track and field when I was not a runner.
All right, as a track guy, I got to ask, and you mentioned now you're doing, long distance running, but what was your event or events in high school?
Oh, I rocked the field. I rocked the field. I did shot put, I did high jump, I did triple jump, and I went on to be a track and field and cross country coach at the modified level in my second physical education teaching job.
All right, very cool. I love it. I love those stories. Um, let's jump to college. Okay. You mentioned you got your master's, in sport management. What was your undergraduate years like? What's something that really sticks out for you again that was a meaningful experience?
Definitely work ethic. My college coaches they continued to cultivate and foster that work ethic inside of me, that you are the first one there, the last one to leave, and nobody's going to outwork you. There's no talent to have work ethic. You know what I mean? That's accessible to everybody. It's a decision you make every single day. And I did get that from my parents growing up. Absolutely, that Italian work ethic culture. You start working young. And then My high school coach also developed that. But I would say in college, when I was left to my own devices, my own time management, to have them really hone in on that for me, that has paid off tenfold.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Just so great to hear. And again, I love the connections that go back, to, you mentioned family, but then you mentioned, high school and college. And now, those voices, I talk about my mentors. I still hear their voices in my head. You're definitely hearing those voices as well. Um, let's go and take just a little bit of a step post college. You're a teacher, you're a coach. When did it start percolating a little bit about, you wanted to do more? Don't go too deep, but can you remember that moment that at first
Yeah,
when
I
you said,
can.
hey, I want to do this?
I can. So I had parents at my first teaching job. I was a health and phys ed teacher on the Upper West Side in New York City where I was living. And I had parents reach out to me, having coached 3 varsity sports there, a men's team and 2 women's varsity sports, saying that their child wasn't confident enough to go out for the team settings. Would I work with them in Central Park, just one on one, or maybe with them and a friend in small group? And I had this flashback, Jake, to when my phys ed teacher, who was my coach, when he asked me to do track and field with him, it was because he pulled the volleyball kids and he did work with us through training under the track and field coach umbrella. He did work with us on, again, things I realized was court quickness and things unrelated to track and field, but he worked with us in that setting. And that is when he really had the most positive impact on me. And the light bulb went off. And I said, absolutely. I will work with these students. I will build their confidence in Central Park, convenient, on their demand of their schedule when they want. And then it I watched those children shine. They were thriving. I mean, myself as a phys ed teacher, what I would have got them to do from September to December, I achieved in one 45-minute session one-on-one with them. All of a sudden, they were all ears, Jake. How much water do I need to drink? How much sleep do I need? I need more protein, coach. Okay. In front of their peers in my phys ed class, the wall, right? They were reserved because it's performance based. So that's when I realized I have to make this opportunity available for other students that are just maybe not quite ready for the team culture and being on display in front of the social emotional part of that, but also kids who wanted to start a new sport. And just because they didn't play it every weekend from age 5, they felt like there was a gap in their ability and knowledge. So how could we create that sports and exercise tutoring so they would feel confident and competent, right? Same thing we do as phys ed teacher and coaches, just in a private setting.
Right. No, and you bring up a very good point that I think is lost on even some people in our profession, is that athletics, competitive athletics, whatever label you want to put on it, athletics is not fitness, and vice versa. It's not right, wrong, good, or bad. It's just athletics is this. And you can be fit, you can have victories, if you will, personal victories or team victories, but you can also do that in fitness. Okay? And they're not the same. They're both very cool activities. Let's go and take a quick break, but we're coming back with more. Once again, our guest today is Christina Collins. She's an athlete, a coach, a physical educator, and she is the founder and owner of Never Stop Moving 365. We're going to hear more about that when we come back. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thank you to our good friends at Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. Their team is going to show you how to set up and sell tickets, not just for your athletic events, but for things like school plays and concerts, school dances, even graduation. And here's the best part. Every school gets assigned a dedicated client success manager that's going to provide you hands-on support every step of the way. That's every step of the way. Go to hometownticketing.com for more information. Whether it's more support, more security, or more customization, Hometown is going to help you make the best online ticketing solution. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Gipper. Gipper is the official social media graphics solution for the podcast. And if you go to Gipper.com, They're going to show you how you can create world-class marketing content for your school's social media channel. You can celebrate your athletes and promote your teams. Gipper's used and trusted by over 4,000 athletic programs across the country. It's professional graphic design made easy. How easy? Well, it's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com to get started. You're going to be very glad that you did. Welcome back, everybody. We're visiting again with Christina Collins, educator, a coach, and the founder and owner of Never Stop Moving 365. Christina, you shared, your journey. You graduated from college. Now you're a teacher, you're a coach, and then you had this moment where you just felt a calling to, share these, let's say, these athletic victory experiences with kids who might not be involved in sports, maybe not might not be ready for sports. As you were building your your brand, building your business, what was that like, going from 0 to 100 miles an hour? And maybe what were some of the things that you did to make your business stand apart?
So it started with the sports and exercise tutoring as parents would come forward with goals for their child. And what was so great is as phys ed teachers, you didn't just have to do soccer for 45 minutes. You could do a circuit, an obstacle course, a relay, a scavenger hunt. We could customize and motivate your child in so many different ways while still getting them comfortable and confident towards joining a certain sport of their desire, of their choice. As parents would come to me for sports, I was clearly, Jake, not qualified to be providing the tutoring. I would hire my phys ed friends. Oh, wait, you do baseball. Oh, wait, you do lacrosse. Oh, wait, you golf, tennis. And then, so then I started to expand and I needed a team. And I started to reach a cap, right? There's only so much time you can trade for services. So then I had a team. And it continued to mold and iterate from there. So then parents started to say, these sports birthday parties we go to are horrible. Can you do inclusive physical activity birthday parties in backyards? Oh, absolutely, we can. So then it's right, and then it was, can you teach our kids to swim? They already trust you so much on land. Can Yeah, of course. And we added swim lessons, right? So it's just constantly listening to the demand and being able to supply.
In your materials in your website, which we want to give out those addresses later on, I think this is your quote. Okay. Through fitness and sport training, talking about your mentor, he taught me so many tools I still use today: grit, confidence, communication, and leadership skills to take risks, try new things, reflect, pick myself up, and to never stop improving. Now, those are all values and, let's say, characteristics that coaches and ADs like to speak, and I think they do, about the value of sports participation. But how have you seen your activities bring about those same types of, let's say, character traits with the students that you work with in Never Stop Moving?
Sure. I really believe it is about empowering the child to especially understand how much of their health and fitness is in their control. So when they first start, they can only do one push up or hold a plank for 20 seconds. And then through trying and failing and having it be really hard, then they can do three and then they can do five, right? So they start to understand they are adaptable and they do have to engage that overload principle, which means you have to try and fail and learn, and how failure is just feedback to then be able to improve. And if you don't push the envelope to failure, then you're really not improving as much as possible. So they start to get comfortable failing and trying new sports and new skills. It could just be throwing a frisbee in between soccer and and getting exposure to a lot of new and taking those risks and having to advocate and right for themselves and communication. And the new 2024 national phys ed standards are all about exactly this: the social skills and the affective domain coming in at 50% of the four new Shape America national standards. So it is has been so rewarding and fulfilling to see that while team sports does develop a lot of social skills, you don't actually need a crowd and a scoreboard to cultivate these kind of character educational tools that stay with a child for their whole life. I don't get 12 friends together to play volleyball, but I pull from that athlete mindset that he and others have cultivated inside me every single day as a teacher, as a coach, to run this company every single day, Jake.
No, and you talk about the excitement in whether it's a 4-year-old child or an 18-year-old child or a 40-year-old child, the excitement when they can do that one push up or that one pull up, et cetera. I certainly remember that as a kid in our PE classes, and I think we're wired that way to recognize our own achievements and milestones. I remember when I was, still a high school football coach and teaching weightlifting, we had all the students in there, athletes, kids that weren't in athletics, boys, girls, you name it. And we just did the same program. This is what we're going to do. And I would have students, boys and girls, they would come up to me, coach, I just want to get in shape. I don't care how much I bench press. I go, okay, yeah, this is what we're going to do. And 3-4 weeks into the program, they would be coming up to me with their workout cards. Look how much I bench pressed. Okay. Again, it's just, you let them, kind of grow and have that experience with some guidance, of course. Uh, Share, and I know you got 1,000 of them, but share if you can, one success story like that. It might be a little kid or a big kid, but share a success story, with our listeners. And then we're going to give out the contact information.
Sure. And I have to just tell you, I could still picture my name on that 500-pound club. One of the things my AD instituted when I was in high school to encourage the lifting in the off season was that pound club. I know exactly where it is. But success stories, I have millions. Some of my favorite are when parents call us to tell us that unfortunately, something that would have been such a horrendous event, like their child reaching into the pool to go for a ball, they knew how to turn around, hold on to the wall, crab walk, climb out. Those are some of the most rewarding stories about building the water safety and confidence through the swim lessons we provide. Bike riding, having students, when that clicks and they are riding that bike and they feel, they tell you, coach, the wind on my face, and they just love being on that bike independent. I love those stories. And for the older kids, middle school, high school, when their parents reach out to us they're floored to say, you're never going to guess it, after dinner my children asked me to go for a walk in the neighborhood after. Those are just the heartwarming stories. They make the tough days worth it.
Boy, that's gold medal stuff right there. When your kids say, let's go for a walk. Wow.
100%.
We're going to do this at the end of the podcast, but uh, if one of our listeners, and again, ADs, coaches, we even have some parents that listen. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out, find out more about Never Stop Moving 365, or just connect with you. And listeners, I think you got a tremendous resource here. Christina, how do they find out more?
I'm definitely most active on Instagram, NeverStopMoving365. But for all the information, you'll head to our website, www.neverstopmoving365.com. And feel free to email me anytime, Christina at NeverStopMoving365.com.
All right, Christina Collins, we're going to take another quick break, but we're going to come back with some more. We're going to take a deep dive into all things Never Stop Moving. So, listeners, please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to Home Campus, the official high school and state association platform for our podcast. Home Campus is a platform that you're going to use every single day, just like I did. Things like scheduling, uh, taking care of athletic clearance and eligibility. Who doesn't do that every single day? Uploading rosters, communicating with your coaches, your parents, your kids, digital forms, you name it. Home Campus does it better and faster, and it's going to make your life as an AD a lot easier. And all you have to do is go to homecampus.com. That's homecampus.com. We want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. If you're looking for a really cool way to show off your school record boards, for all your teams, for all your sports, or show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and take a look at their interactive touch screen. That's right, touch screen video consoles. It's also a great way to share your school's unique history, highlight your best and brightest, and tell the story and connect with your stakeholders about all the great things you're doing at your school. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. Mention the podcast, they'll give you a nice discount. Vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to say thank you to our friends at Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and ended up with little, if any, return on investment? Stop right here. Go to snapraise.com. Hands down, the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with tremendous success. Our coaches loved it, our parents loved it. It works. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you found it. Go to snapraise.com. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're visiting today with Christina Collins, athlete, coach, a physical educator, and the founder and owner of Never Stop Moving 365. Christina, you started the program a few years ago, and it sounds like it's become wildly successful. Locally within your state. You're a national speaker now. Just spoke at, I think you mentioned it was the National Shape Conference in Cleveland, and you're expanding down into our state, Florida. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. When this was successful beyond my wildest dreams, Jake, I knew I couldn't keep this secret to myself. I knew I had to teach other phys ed teachers how to do what I was doing to have the same impact on students in their communities. So students benefit, families benefit, they financially benefit as a phys ed teacher and coach. And then we do kick back to our state organization. So our advocacy groups also benefit. So it's just all around the cycle. We are excited to share that we have our first franchisee in your state in Florida set to open Q4 of 2024. So anybody near Naples, Florida, definitely reach out if you want to get involved as an instructor. But we are excited to meet ambitious and hardworking phys ed teachers and coaches all over that might want to lead an active zone for Never Stop Moving 365 in their community.
Now, you were telling me that you're looking to expand, with the right type of people to be in charge of the franchises, but you also mentioned that coaches can be a part and lend their skill. So, how does all that happen? What does an AD or a coach have to do?
Yeah. So what it looks like is a coach reaches out to our team at Never Stop Moving 365. We get them set up with their local active zone and they get to work flexible on demand at the days and times that they choose. We do have a free app, Never Stop Moving 365, in the Google Android and the Apple Store. Families download it and coaches put their availability on, and then clients go on and let's say they want a lacrosse lesson, they click appointments, click lacrosse, lacrosse coaches schedules open, available show, and the clients book them. And the coaches get to deliver the lessons on demand when they choose. So it's great for coaches too that only coach two sports and are looking for something to do for side income in that middle season. That's not their passionate love sport they want to coach. So they get to stay with their primary loves. They get to meet new students that maybe they don't coach during the season and improve their game.
So the opportunities through Never Stop Moving 365, um, individuals can, obviously they have to contact you. They can become a franchise owner, if you will, and then uh, coaches can reach out to you, be placed in their local franchise, and get extra, as you said, extra income for doing the things that they do best. Okay. Very cool.
That's right.
Okay. What now? Again, I know you shared it, but you shared a ton of information. When is that Naples franchise opening?
It's set to open November 1st of this year, 2024.
Okay, so coming in the fall of 2024. So Floridians, you got a lot of time to get going, and you got time to reach out to Christina in your area, whatever state you're in, and see about maybe starting a Never Stop Moving 365. Again, I just love that name. I hope you copyrighted it so so I don't
Sure
steal it.
did. Sure
Okay.
did.
And start that program in your area. We're going to take a break, but we are going to come back. We're going to take a deep dive into a couple of things that Christina is doing separate from Never Stop Moving. But there's a lot more coming, including best practices in the toolbox on the Educational AD podcast. We want to say thanks to the good folks at Huddle for their support of the podcast. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I wanted our coaches to have the same type of quality experience, and Huddle came through like a champ. It's a trusted platform. All of our coaches loved it, our student athletes loved it, and hey, our parents loved it too, with all the tools that Huddle shared. At Huddle, we believe in sports, and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 8 million users and turn your school into a Huddle school. We want to thank our friends at Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their score boards in action. Their products not only generate income for your athletic department, but they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. That's sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. Welcome back to the Educational AD podcast. Christina, one of the things that athletic directors are tasked with now more and more is fundraising and branding and just, generating additional income because, budgets are tight. Um, what are some things that you have done with your platform that have helped teams in that area that you can share with our listeners?
One of my favorite things to do is to partner with athletic directors to help with exactly that, fundraising. Oftentimes, it looks like working with a varsity team one day after school for an hour. And they put on, we just did it recently with a softball team. They put on a Pee Wee T ball type clinic. We access the phys ed teachers to hand out the sign up sheets and to get it promoted within the district. And this way, parents don't have to commit every Saturday at 9 a.m. for 12 weeks for their child to try T ball. They get to do it one day after school, an hour clinic. And sometimes the athletic directors like do pizza or a snack after to increase the revenue that the event generates. And the softball team, they love what they do. So the kids get such a positive experience. It's not somebody just volunteer dad coaching for t-ball. They get to be coached by women or girls. This was for softball, so it was girls who they idolize, and so it was a great experience for the kids. The varsity softball team was so thrilled not to have to sell wrapping paper, cookie dough, the age-old time of the topless car wash they didn't have to give up a Saturday doing. So they were so thrilled to be able to fundraise doing what they love, the same way our 365 coaches love to make extra income doing what they love, teaching their sport lessons. So other events that have been super successful for the ADs listening, a family fitness fun night. Get your bunch of your athletes together, use your elementary schools, host a family fitness fun night. You charge per kid who attends, and you will get your athletic department funds up and growing. Olympic and field days and color wars are 3 other events too. And please feel free to reach out and email me. I have templates to help you put on all of these events. Anything I can do to support. I'm a product of an athletic director system, a functional one. I want to give back any way I can.
Well, I love it. Got some really good ideas. And ADs, coaches, listeners, we're going to give out that contact information again at the end of the podcast. Christina, I want you to share a little bit your personal activity. You mentioned, you were a volleyball athlete, you're a track athlete back in the day, but you've taken up running, and not just the 5Ks and 10Ks. You're doing marathons and ultras, and you're getting ready to train for an Iron Woman. How did that all come about? And again, I've ran a couple of marathons a long time ago. What's it like doing an ultra? So I know I threw a lot at you there.
So it came about because I graduated college, Jake. I signed up for a women's volleyball league. I think it's going to be competitive. I showed up and I was about 30 years younger than the next closest teammate or competitor. And I realized women's volleyball after college isn't the scene I thought it was going to be. So my friend said, "Why don't you do this 5K with me?" And that was it, Jake. I got addicted to racing the clock and competing versus myself. And from that 5K, I put in for the lottery of the New York City Half Marathon, and I found out I got in, and I said, "Well, I better start training." And from a half marathon, it went to marathon. And then I wanted to test that athlete mindset and that toolkit with the grit and the perseverance and the work ethic by pushing the envelope and the boundaries. And I signed up for an ultra marathon, which is anything past marathon distance. So my first one was 50K, and I loved it. And then I had a child, and then I went for a 50 miler about 4 months after he was, shortly after he was born. And I've just been pushing and testing my limits. And really, Jake, I guess if I had to narrow it down, it would be I'm just trying to see where my potential runs out. Hasn't yet.
Oh no, well, you got a long way to go, trust me. Okay. Um, Yeah, I'm very similar. When I graduated from college, I joke sometimes that injuries and a lack of talent kept me out of the National Football League. Um, but I started doing some 5Ks and some 10Ks, and eventually said, okay, I'm going to try a marathon. I think I was 32 or my first one. And I did 5 total, all in my 30s. And, they were exciting. It's that physical test, etc. I remember my first one, I went out way too fast, rookie mistake. But yeah, the ultra has just never, I've never felt that tug to do the ultra. When I know I'm putting you on the spot here, when are you thinking your Iron Woman is going to happen?
I am thinking I will do the 100 miler this end of this summer, this fall, maybe early fall, and then do the iron next year in 25.
All right.
That's the
Well,
goal as it stands on the vision board, actually, right behind this device I'm recording this with you on.
there you go. Yeah, okay. Well, we've got, video documentation, to hold you to that. But seriously, we can do it after the 100 miler, but definitely after your Iron Woman, we'll bring you back, and you can share that experience. I think that'd be very, very cool. Christina, this has just been so neat spending some time with you and adding you to our podcast family. I think I'm going to designate you a friend of the show as we move forward, but we're not done yet. We always wrap up with the athletic director's toolbox. Now, you're not an AD, but you certainly know your way around the world of athletics. You've worked with athletic directors before. So, we're going to take our final break, hear from Athletic Surveys, who sponsored this segment. And when we come back, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new rookie athletic director on their very first job, but I'm only going to let you put 3 things in their toolbox. So let's take that break. And when we come back, we're going to find out what Christina Collins is going to put in her new athletic director toolbox. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment of the podcast. Athletic surveys are a quick and easy way for you to collect comprehensive data about your athletic department. Now, athletic directors already get feedback, but usually it's from a small group that want to complain about everything. Athletic surveys will connect you to that group, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% of your stakeholders that support your program. And that's tremendously valuable information to have when you're talking with a frustrated parent, or maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Christina Collins, an athlete, a coach, an entrepreneur, and the founder and owner of Never Stop Moving 365. Tremendous organization. You really need to follow up, check out the website. But right now, I'm going to challenge Christina to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job. But I'm only going to let her put three things in the toolbox. So, Christina, what three tools are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
The first one is to remember your why. Every time that you are making a decision, you bring it back to that why about why you pursue that athletic director degree as well as career and why. We know it's for the athlete. So keep that why at the heart of your decision making and let it pick you up on a tough day. The second tip that I have for you is time management, because we all know parents could eat up your time real quick, and so can student athletes. So have your blocked time so that you don't finish the workday and then have 20 emails waiting for you. And then it becomes this tightrope walk balance of work and family and work. So remember your why, time management. And the third one, the most important one, if I had to rank them, saving the best for last, is get out of your office. You want to build that social capital and you want to get that buy-in. So when you want to fundraise, everybody's with you. When you want to implement a new policy or protocol in your department, everybody's behind you for the implementation of it. So build that social capital. I have had the privilege and the pleasure to be very close with my high school athletic director, as well as have worked for three amazing athletic directors in a top Westchester district in New York. And they have done these three things very, very well. Remember your why, time management, and get out of your office and build those relationships.
They're all outstanding tools. And I love the term that you used, building that social capital. Okay. Um, I'm going to give you a fourth tool, NeverStopMoving365.com. Again, if one of our listeners wanted to find out more about the program, maybe even go the franchise or coach route, or just add you to their network. And listeners, I think you got a tremendous resource here. Christina, how do they do all of that?
You can email me, Christina at NeverStopMoving365.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, Christina Collins. I personally answer my inbox everywhere, so it's coming directly to me. For more information about our company, check out our website, NeverStopMoving365.com. And we're most active on Instagram, NeverStopMoving.365.
All right. Well, Christina, thanks so much for sharing with our listeners today. All the best moving forward with Never Stop Moving and with your own, ultra running and training regime.
Thank you, Jake. We'll see you in Florida soon.
Oh, I'm going to hold you to that. Okay. For our listeners, we want to thank you for tuning in, and we remind you that we upload all of our Zooms to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day with new content and best practices. So come back the next time for another great segment on the Educational AD Podcast.